Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. Welcome to our weekly webinar. I appreciate you joining us here this afternoon. Got some good crowd already just waiting in the wings, ready to get started this afternoon. Folks, I just cannot believe just how closely we are to the end of 2025. Folks, if you just can imagine that in 2 weeks from today, we will be celebrating New Year's Eve. So let all that sink in a little bit here. It's unbelievably going by quickly. And hopefully, if you are looking in to get started with American Business Systems, you can kind of help hopefully expedite a little bit what you're trying to get done and get you started here so we can get you started here at the beginning of the year. But today, folks, what we're going to do, we're going to venture into what are the best ways to market to doctors. So for those that are on here, apparently you are certainly looking deep inside of what we're doing here at American Business Systems. And I appreciate your time that you're taking with us. Today is a little, webinar is a little different in the fact that this is almost like teaching. Because what we're going to be going through today is really what you're going to learn when you go through our training class, how we're going to help you and position you and get you started and ready to go out and start marketing to doctors. Because obviously part of having a business is having clients and having those clients being able for you to see and help and to work your way through that. So I'd like to welcome everybody, but if you'll do that, the best way to me welcome you is if you'll find the Q&A box and then just type in, you see up there, I just type something. It'll be a little bit more specific. Just tell me where you're located. Tell me, maybe the city and the state that you're located. So just type that in the Q&A box. That will let me know that I'm being heard okay, but also it kind of lets me know how far spread out we are throughout the United States in having people on today. So we've got folks from Nashida is from New York City. Good to have you. Anthony's is in Missouri, so good to have you. We've got Jarrell from New Jersey, so thank you for that. Velia, hopefully I said your name correctly, from Los Angeles, California. So folks, as you can see here, we've got folks from coast to coast. We've got folks in the middle. We've got folks on the East Coast, folks on the West Coast. So hopefully you're ready to go. And Latanya says hello. Elise is from California. So Susan is from Charlotte, North Carolina. Good group here today. So thank you everybody for participating. And then I'm going to kind of click these through so I can have time and room to help hopefully answer some of your questions, because you'll see a specific slide deck as we'll get to one of them today that gives you a reminder to, if you've got questions, feel free to ask me those questions. Well, again, I hope that you're getting ready to end the year, being with family, kind of getting a new year started here. We're just excited here about here at American Business Systems. Had some email exchanges with Adam and just some great things that are coming up in 2026. It's just wonderful to be a part of such a great company here at American Business Systems. ABS has been around for over 30 years. I've been part of that for a little over half of that now. I think I'm in my 17th or 18th, or going to be in my 18th year this next year, being a part of American Business Systems. So what is my role here? What do I do? I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement here at American Business Systems, which means I'm here to help you learn and engage you in the process of some of the things that we do. So we kind of target certain topics every week. Some are engaging with interviews. We had a wonderful, wonderful interview last week with Jeff Bruner. If you didn't get a chance to be on that live, I'm going to show you where you can go find that, and you can go look that up and look at it and watch it maybe over the weekend and as you're getting prepared for the holidays coming up here. But my name is Eric Auger. I'll be your host this afternoon. Again, feel free to type in any questions that you may have. Let me introduce you to Adam Phillips. He is our CEO. He is the son of Patrick Phillips. Adam's been raised in this his entire life. Patrick was the founder of the organization. We lost Patrick about a couple of years ago. now, a little over a year ago, but Adam has been able to take over. He was actually taking over as CEO probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and he's done an incredible job. He is walking in his dad's shoes, so to say, and he's taken it even further than that. So he's an incredible writer. He has written and participated in article writing for a magazine called Billing and Coding Advantage Magazine. One of his latest articles you can find right here. Now, if you'd like to get a copy of this, just jot down the name, or if you do nothing else, just say to your sales rep that you might be working with here, say, Eric mentioned a couple of articles that Adam wrote in the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. They'll know what they are, and they'll get you a PDF version of this. And so you're going to want to do that. Not only did he write this one just a few months ago on the shrinking private practice and why billing expertise can be a lifeline, basically, for those physicians in those offices. Because there are offices that are closing because they just can't get a handle on their revenue. And so, or doctors leave independent private practice and they end up joining a hospital or a group or something like that. We don't really want that. And it's not that we don't want that. I'm talking about us collectively as a community. We don't want doctors always going into group practices. It takes away their freedom. It takes away their critical thinking skills a lot of times. We want doctors that can think on their own. We want them to take their time with us as we're being seen as a patient. And so, folks, if you think about it, whenever you're helping a doctor get financially sound, you're creating an environment for your entire community to trust their doctor and for them, that doctor, to be able to take care of their patients very well. He also wrote another article. This one came out in 2024, and I keep showing this one over and over again because artificial intelligence is not going away, folks. And a lot of questions that we get has to do with artificial intelligence. And will there even be a need for human medical billers in the future? We see it as just the opposite. We're actually going to need more humans because in the speed in which we're able to now bill, we're able to look at codes much more properly. Looking up codes are much more easy to do that. A lot of times it's happening within our software, and it's actually helping us to become even more efficient and quicker. So not only we're able to keep those readmission rates, those rejection rates down, but we're also helping that doctor increase their revenue. So check with your sales rep just to say, hey, Eric mentioned a couple of articles that Adam's written in the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. Just say that, hey, he mentioned to me to get a copy from me, and they'll send it to you, okay? Adam's also written a book called 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. He co-wrote this with Dr. Vicki Rackner. Dr. Rackner is on the board of directors of an organization called MERMA. This is an organization that Adam founded, and he had Dr. Rackner to become on the board of directors as our medical director there. It was at that point that they co-wrote the book, but it is this organization that you'll be immediately a part of once you've completed all of your training successfully here. And then it is that group that will actually certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. So a lot of you may be already asking, do I need to go outside of American Business Systems to get additional training? And the answer is no. You're going to learn everything that you're going to need to learn here, not only the medical, the billing, the coding, and everything, but we're also, as today's topic is, show you how to build your business from the ground up. Everything from trying to figure out how to set up an LLC to actually marketing and discussing terms which you need to talk with your physicians. Now, today is going to be somewhat educational. A lot of the things I'm going to be talking about today is going to be found in the training. All right. So you're getting kind of a double dose here. You're going to learn a little bit of what you would learn in the training. Plus, you're going to learn what we're going to teach you, how to go out and begin to start marketing your business out there. A lot of people ask, well, can I market remotely? You can. But at the end of the day, this is always and will always be a relationship type business. You're going to want to get to know your doctor that you're doing billing for. They're going to want to get to know you. So if anybody's ever told you, hey, we're going to provide you a list of potential doctors that can become your clients, folks, that's not a way to build relationships with people. We feel like that. This is why we do what we do here with our webinars every single week. We do this because we know the importance of building relationships with each other, because once we kind of get to know each other, we'll do business with people guess what? We know, we've ended up liking them, and then through that, we've earned a trust process through all that. And so what we're teaching you, even through these webinars, is to take what we've learned over the last 30 years and becoming that relationship business building between you and American Business Systems. And we want you to copy what we're doing and helping you get your clients. So, all right, so you'll see this slide throughout the presentation, sometimes kind of frequently, just to remind you that I'd like to see if there are any audience questions, okay? So let's get started here. I want to get started here because we're going to learn here in just a moment but really before we begin on marketing strategies, we're going to try to figure out what are the big problems that doctors have, okay? So one of the best things that you're going to learn right now, I'm going to show you and help you understand that there is 5 things that doctors really need, okay? So this first few slides, what I'm going to talk to you about is just giving you an education of why would a doctor even want to use you versus having someone in their office do billing in-house, okay? Why is it better for a doctor to get their billing outside of their office versus having someone in their office doing that billing? Let me kind of start off with that, kind of help answer this question. What makes it better to have doctors billing outsourced versus doctor having their billing done in-house? The first thing is, and this is not one of the 5 things doctors really need. I'm just kind of talking with you about why would a doctor want to outsource versus having it in person there. Number one is a lot of times is their employees. This is probably the biggest thing, that when they hire a biller, that person is an employee, what's called an FTE, a full-time employee. And there are typically no benefits or incentives for that person to process a claim and then also to figure out what could we be doing differently in order to improve the doctor's cash flow. Okay, they're going to do their billing, whether the doctor gets reimbursed on 75% of their bills or 65% of their bills or 85% of the bills. They're going to get that same paycheck week after week. Unlike you as a billing company, instead of the doctors losing money anywhere from 20 to 30% of their money on a monthly basis, you as an organization that has been outsourced to, well, you don't want to leave money just sitting on the table and just kind of go off and do your own thing there. You're going to make sure that doctor is getting 95 to 98% of their money, because the more you help the doctor make, the more money that you make. So there's a clear incentive here, and the doctors recognize that, and they know that today. So I want to kind of set that as a first initial thing here as you're going through this, because I know sometimes if I've got a question on my mind, I'm not going to hear everything the speaker's talking about all the time. So I hope to help at least here initially answer the reason why a doctor is more advantageous to outsource their billing than to have it inside. Okay, but now let's talk about 5 things physicians really need help with. Okay, one is kind of goes along with what I've just been saying. They need to figure out how to reduce their administrative burdens. Well, to a sense, having a full-time employee there doing billing can be an administrative burden in and of itself. So one of the things that getting the whole business, think of it. If you're thinking about doing this as a business, why would the doctor want to run 2 types of businesses in their office? One that is 100% cash flow business, financial advisement, so to say, have that in their office versus it out of their office. And see, that's one of the things that we can help get the doctor from being more distracted, because if they've got a biller in house, that biller is running back and forth. They may be doing other things. They may call in sick. They may have, it just may be a hard time to find people to do that job there in a doctor's office. Getting that portion of the business out reduces that doctor basically running two types of businesses within their own office. Let them do what they do best. They do clinical phenomenally. And one of the ways we can help the doctors to improve their clinic and their clinicians of what they do there on a regular basis is to get this billing out of their office. So one of the reasons why this works, of why we do what we do and have been doing it well over 30 years, is because we know this number one thing: if we can help a doctor realize and understand what's going on in their office and help them reduce administrative burdens and issues that come up throughout the day because of administrative stuff, then they can focus on nothing more than the patient. That's the number one thing that they need help with. The second thing goes hand in hand with that, and that is their cash flow. Obviously, like I said, if you get some information from your sales reps, you will find out that a doctor can lose up to 30 to 40% of their money simply because whoever is doing their billing is not doing clear checks on making sure that every claim is accounted for. Now, imagine are you going to be that way? No. Why would you lose money and then also lose your reputation as one of those medical billing companies that can't do any better than having someone in-house? No, even getting it out to a bad billing company would improve a lot of times the doctor's cash flow, because at least someone's a little bit more focused on making sure that if a claim gets rejected, they're going to find out why, and they're going to resubmit that claim back as fast as possible. Okay, unlike a full-time employee that can be working in that office, and then also a nurse saying, hey, we're shorthanded today. Can you go clean one of our exam rooms? Well, that person has to leave. They may have been waiting on hold for talking with an insurance group, and so all of a sudden that they're unable to be able to see any particular patients whatsoever, or to take care of their claims whatsoever. So because they're busy doing something else, they just get tied up in all that. So let's find a way to increase their cash flow. Number 3 is risk management. This is huge, and this has to do with HIPAA compliancy. Folks, we have a service called Compliancy Guard that right now is the best time to be talking to these doctors about HIPAA compliancy, because they have to retrain everybody in their office, change passwords, make sure that if they've had other employees in their office and those people aren't there, did they change all the locks? Did they change their password settings? All of that has to be done. And if that's not documented, and then they're exposed that they have exposed some private patient information out there, let me tell you, the auditors are going to come in and go, well, doctor, you didn't do this. You didn't change your locks. You didn't change your passwords. You're letting your staff behind this glass back here be on their cell phones and on Facebook all the time. Y'all leave charts out. You don't have a remediation risk assessment done. You don't have this assessment done. And so your fines, because it seems as though you've been negligent in this area, your fines have not just tripled, but sometimes quadrupled. We got to reduce their exposure to risk. And that's one of the areas of American business systems that not only are we looking at getting more money into the clinic, but keeping that money in the clinic and not have that doctor exposed to some areas that can be vulnerable. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Medicare and some of these other insurance companies like Aetna and Cigna and United Healthcare, every one of those organizations will do an audit on those doctors and looking at charts and reviewing charts. And there may be times where they claw back money because what's in their chart doesn't substantiate the type of code that was put in there. And so instead of having that higher reimbursement for one code, now the let's say Medicare says, you know what, you don't have enough notes in there, so we're asking for $25 or $30 per chart over 100 charts, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out all that money. So part of what we're trying to do is money management. When the money comes in, let's keep the money there. There's some audits that can happen with charting, but the real audits that need to happen is with risk management. And I'm going to show you here in just a little bit how we can help reduce the risk management exposure. Some of the things that the doctors need is transparency reporting. This is one of the toughest things of having a in-person biller not producing proper reports. Now, for an outsourced billing company, this is bread and butter here, because this is what dictates what you're doing, how you're improving the doctor's cash flow. So they're going to get you can get them a weekly report, a daily report, a monthly report. You can do a year-to-date report, all that within our system. Now, even if you're not working with inside of our system, like iClaim that you can do, and you may have to start off using the doctor's billing system, we're even going to show you some tips and tricks how to produce proper transparent reporting. Because the more that you can show the doctor what you're doing, which claims have been filed, which claims are in process, which claims have been paid, which claims maybe have got some denials on them, you can show the doctor all of those things. And what you're showing that doctor is that at least you're doing the work. And it's like its own internal physical EKG that you would have. You know, when you go to the doctor, they put all those leads on you, and comes out this EKG report, and it shows whether your heart's beating in sync or not, or is it going too fast, is it going too slow, you know, whatever else that can be shown on that. This is kind of taking that EKG on the doctor's financials, and they need that. They need to know how to read that, and you need to show them how to read that. So, and then lastly, with all four of those, you know, making sure that you can help reduce the doctor's administrative burdens. Number 2, get their cash flows up and going. 3, reduce their risk management. 4, get transparency reporting. And this leads to the last 5th thing that they need, and that's a focus on their patient care, not on paperwork and worrying about whether they're going to be able to keep their doors open. When you achieve those 4 things there, by getting the billing outsourced, get that outside of the doctor's office, now you at least have a foundation right now that a lot of doctors themselves don't even know about. And now we're going to take that information of what I've just showed you and taught you here just now. Now we're going to start to apply it of what you're going to need to do to strategically get and acquire your first doctor client. Before I go over to there, are there any questions so far? We're already in this meeting, a little bit into 20 minutes into this meeting, 22 minutes into this meeting. Does anybody have any questions for me so far? Don't want to lose anybody. So Anthony or Diana, Gerald, LaTanya, anybody out there? There's more people out there. There's a few of the names I see. Okay. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to go on to the next slide. If you've got a question, you're probably trying to type it in there, just go ahead and shoot it on in there. I'll pick it up here in just a moment. All right. So for the last 30 minutes of this webinar that we're doing today, I'm going to talk with you executive strategies for acquiring your first doctor client. Now, this is kind of like where we're kind of rolling up our sleeves. And if you were going through the training, your trainer here at American Business Systems is going to take you through every one of these, but much slower, much more in depth. Folks, we only have about 30, 35 more minutes left for me to kind of just walk through the entire thing on marketing. There are 10 modules that you go through here at American Business Systems to go through training. The first 5 has to do with all the different services. It has nothing to do with marketing or strategic acquiring of your first doctor client. It all has to do with the nuts and bolts. Getting your website set up, getting an LLC set up, making sure you get your business cards in order, how to name your business, going through iClaim, going through EMRX, going through all the different services very, very intently. However, the last 5 parts of that training all has to do with what we're dealing with right now. So what I've done, I've collected information from Module 6 all the way down to Module 7, and I've condensed all of that into what we see as this particular webinar, okay? So that's what we're going to be kind of going through, and if it seems a little rushed, It's just because there's a lot of information, and I promise you, this is being recorded, and you can go back and listen to it a little bit later. But before I get started here, Alok is asking what percentage of doctors have in-house billing currently, kind of relative easier to acquire, versus how many have external billing already, and how to win them, and how do you approach them? And so we're going to answer that question. Now, I always like to say the percentage of doctors in-house billing versus outsourced billing, at least through my career here at American Business System, has always hovered around about 50%. I'll tell you why. Because it's hard to capture that data. There's no data out there that we've been able to find and go, how many doctors are actually doing in-house billing versus outsourcing? Because what happens is that doctors fluctuate. There are doctors that go in, they start their new practice, and they figure out, gosh, the first thing I need to do, besides hiring a medical assistant and maybe a nurse, some nurses and some administrative staff to check in people, I probably need to hire a medical biller. And so that's what they typically do. They hire somebody that can come in their office. Then they find out, gosh, there's a better way. Let me outsource. So they quit the in-house part of it. They start outsourcing their business. Then they find a very poor billing company out there, and they don't do anything out there any better than the in-house biller, even though that they told they could. And then they go back and they end up going back into in-house billing. And there's this rotating thing that happens out there. But then you got new doctors that come in. Some doctors say, you know what, I want to go work for a hospital system. They gave me a big, initiative to make this change. But then they find out they can't really practice independently the way that they were told they were practicing. So they start all over. This is very fluid, very liquid out there, okay? So I always like to say, and be on the safe side, there's only about 50% of those that do and those that don't. And you'll always find them out there. You promise you'll always find them out there, okay? There's just a ton of doctors, and there's a ton of brand new doctors. And I think there's just as many brand new doctors out there that are older doctors that are out there that are getting back into independent practice, okay? All right, so save time. There's a question that just came in. So Diana, I'm going to hold your question there for a second. Let me kind of get through this section here. So the first thing we want to do is create you, not them, but you. We want to create you as a healthcare expert. We want to take you from not knowing anything about healthcare to becoming an expert in healthcare. And one of the best things that we're going to do through that is that we're going to take you through those 10 modules of training here. That's the only training you're ever going to need, really. Now, we actually have an advanced set of training whenever you're really, really in the weeds, whenever you're doing medical billing here. And you can reserve that training at any time. That's actually included in your package here. But what we're going to train you, our training positions you to master everything that you're going to need to know about the healthcare industry in which your client operates, okay? You're just not here just to process claims. And we want to make sure that you come with the proper mindset here. You're not coming here just to create yourself another job. We want you to know that you're coming here to create yourself another company. And there's a difference. Yes, do owners work within their business? Yes, they do. But we want you to be working alongside of your business, not on your business all the time. We want you to grow to the point where you're not having to do the billing. But in the beginning, you may have to do the billing until you reach to a point to where you go, you know what? I've got enough clients here that I can hire some folks to do the billing for me. That's what you want to kind of achieve. But what we're going to do is help train that you understand everything beyond just billing codes, okay? This is more than just a billing code. That's why we certify you as a certified medical revenue manager, not a certified medical biller, not a certified coder. You don't need to have those certifications. But what you do need is the way to build your business and stay on top of everything business-wise. And you can see that it covers all the clinical workflows, the regulatory requirements, and the financial aspects of every single doctor's practice. Now, if you want to take a quick screenshot of this, you want to get your phone out and you want to take a screenshot of this or whatever, I would encourage you to get back with your sales rep and say, hey, Eric says that there is an in-depth certified medical revenue manager training online agenda. They'll take you through that. It's pretty extensive, okay? More extensive than what we can go through this afternoon on, okay? But we want to make sure that getting you trained properly is the first line to your strategy of getting your first doctor, okay? All right. We've come up to another slide here about audience questions. So Diana's asked a question. I live in California where a lot of doctors are part of hospital networks. Which doctors would be good to focus on as a medical billing business owner? Now, I'm going to answer that with you by, I want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/AB systems, okay, or YABS, sorry. It's youtube.com/YABS, okay. The reason I'm directing you there is because last Wednesday I interviewed Jeff Bruner. Now, Jeff he's been with us a long time as a business owner here at American Business Systems. So much so that he's kind of graduated and he's built his business up, and he's kind of getting close to the age of retirement. So he doesn't have as many clients as he used to have. And that's because he's kind of gotten rid of some of them. And then he's also come on board with American Business Systems to do support and training. He has identified at least 5 different practices out there that are what we call the low-hanging fruit out there, Diana. It's not going to be your cardiologist or anybody else, but it's going to be like your social workers, folks that are in the mental health practices. Those folks need their billing done. And a lot of times those are independent people. Sometimes you're going to find an independent nurse practitioner who's doing and making home visits. There's a bunch of those out there right now, and they need someone to do their billing. So you're not always looking for a brick and mortar clinic, okay, so to say. You're looking for people who are doing a lot of telemed type visits. And those are going to be people that are, like I say, social workers, and those that are in the mental health industry, those that are nurse practitioners that are doing in-home primary care visits. There's massage therapists out there. There's chiropractors that are out there. These are a lot of independent type of providers out there, and you can bill for them because they all bill on the same billing platform or form that a doctor would use, which is called the CMS 1500. So obviously there's a lot of doctors. I know that there's a lot of doctors part of a hospital network. There are tons of them out there, but sometimes what you can find or are some doctors that are hospitalists with a hospital, but they're contracted with the hospital, which means the hospital's not doing their billing, and you could do the billing for a hospitalist group. Diana's also said, I hear a lot of people signing doctors who live outside their state. How do they get exposure to them outside of the referrals? That's a great question. And again, another question that can be answered on the webinar that I did last week, Wednesday. So be sure to go back there. But I tell you, my first doctor that I actually had, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I just networked, as you're going to see here in a minute, how to do some networking. Not multi-layer, not multi-level marketing. Okay, this is not what this is, but it's true strategic executive type of networking. I'm going to show you how that's done because actually my first client was out of Georgia and I live in Texas. So I know it can be done, and it was actually one of the easiest doctors that I ever got. Okay. All right. Number 2, 3 network building strategies. So we're going to talk about those. And then first one is cultivate your orbit of influence. So I'm going to show you, I'm talking to you what that means. That means this is kind of like what it used to be known as your warm market, okay? I like to call it your orbit of influence because these are the people that you already know, people that you might already be working with, maybe some business relationships with people that you're going to be able to work with and do that pretty quickly. Number 2, I'm going to teach you even today how to cultivate those relationships with others who have existing doctor relationships, okay? So you've got your orbit of influence, people that you already currently know. I'm going to show you and teach you how to cultivate some relationship with others who are already engaged with doctors in some form or fashion. Doesn't mean that they're doing the billing, but they're involved with them somehow in the healthcare way. And then cultivate those business relationships with others within your living community. So that kind of is going to be the bread and butter of what we're going to continue to keep going on with right now. So the first way that we always say is the number way of getting doctors and getting your first medical doctor is always through networking. Now, the easiest way to do that, the quickest way to do that, is joining one of these organizations here. BNI stands for the Business Network International. They have monthly meetings of other people that are in the community that are looking for referrals themselves, for executive type of referrals. And they will only allow a certain amount of businesses, like in one charter membership for BNI, they can only be like one real estate person in that group, not two. Okay. So what you might want to start doing right now. So here's some homework for you. I would identify who are some of the BNI groups that are within my zip code and the next couple of zip codes out from where I live. Okay. And if you do nothing else, call them up and say, hi, my name is Anthony. And I see there's an Anthony on here. Say, hi, my name is Anthony. I am about to start a local medical billing business here in my area. Do you have any medical billing companies currently associated with your current chapter of BNI? If they don't, ask them, when are you going to have another meeting? Because they'll let you come for free for at least one, if not two, to kind of talk with them and hear what they've got. Because what you're going to be able to do is kind of give your spiel and say, hey, I'm Anthony. I run a medical billing clinic here in the area, and I'm looking for referrals, and I'd love to chat with you and have coffee with you if anybody's engaged with current doctors right now. Because what that's going to do, let's say that you find somebody that's in real estate who just sold a doctor a home. They're brand new in their area and they're trying to put everything together. Well, since that real estate person already has a business relationship with them, they could go back to that doctor and say, you'll never guess who I ran across today. I ran across this guy by the name of Anthony, and he told me that he does medical billing. And I remember you telling me that you were trying to find a medical biller. Have you ever thought about outsourcing? Well, I've heard that outsourcing is good. Can I put the two of you together? All of a sudden, Anthony's got an opportunity because now there's a warm handoff already. So this goes beyond you going around and knocking doors and doing cold calls. This has nothing to do with that. So then you've got the BNI, you've got the meetup groups, and then the other business group that I would tell you to contact is your local Chamber of Commerce and the surrounding Chamber of Commerces that are within your area. Ask them the same question. How many medical billing companies do you have associated with your chamber? They may say, we don't have any. That's the best thing. Find out, do they do lunches? Do they have a luncheon once a month? Do they have meetings? If so, do they have other types of business opportunity, after hours business opportunities? I'd love to come and just learn a little bit more about what you guys do. Your local Chamber of Commerce will welcome you with open arms. But I tell you, probably one of the best ones that's ever worked for a lot of people is BNI, because that's where you're going up to the higher executive type level. And you're dealing with people that are already doing business with doctors that are attorneys and lawyers and CPAs. Again, real estate people, real estate investors, financial advisors. Financial advisor can be one of your best resources to help find doctors, because doctors are always trying to find financial resources. So, all right, so that's the 3 network billing strategies. I got to move on here. I mean, we're already 40 minutes in this, and I feel like I'm kind of beyond that. But we want to make sure that you're going beyond the sales pitch with this. Once you've got a doctor, or even within that first part of the 3 network billing strategy opportunities of you're building that business orbit of influence around you, you may just tell them, you know what, I'd love nothing more to show you what I do. One of the things that we do what's called a practice analysis questionnaire. And here are the questions that we ask a doctor. And these are, you could demonstrate this over with coffee with somebody. And then you can show them a questionnaire that's been filled out. We've got some of these that you can utilize, and then show real data that's been used on how we help a doctor convert their current issues. So you can see that on the right hand side, it's maybe kind of hard to see, it might be a little small there, but it's the revenue, the practice revenue report. Okay, it's that first tier group there is their current financial status, what could be projected, and then the potential impact on their practice. Now, if you can see there at the bottom, you might have to squint a little bit, but just utilizing, this was from a real doctor that I actually was able to help here. And I was able to help that doctor increase almost 18% more money per month. Well, that generated $26,000 a month. That's why selling this is no longer selling. What you're doing, you are a financial healthcare advisor yourself. And so take yourself from just being a mere, what you might think, oh, I'm going to get in this, I'm going to do a little bit of medical billing, I've got to go sell, I'm not good at sales. Folks, if you can show somebody that you can increase their revenue by $26,000, do you think that you're really selling anything? No, you're not. And that's why there's so many people that have come on board who have said, I've never done sales and marketing in my life. And they become the first group of people, get their doctors and become very successful with us. All right, number 3. Now, once we've kind of showed you, we taught you all those networking aspects of it, we got to back it up to make sure that if people are going to come to you, that you look at like an executive yourself. So we're going to show you how to create, and we're going to have a website designed for you that's highly professional. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look like a template because we're going to have all of your stuff on it already. We're going to help you develop a lot of content addressing billing issues that doctors are faced with, because we've got all of that taken care of. And where you will be able to utilize all of the marketing material that we've done research on that hits all the buttons that doctors are going to need to. First of all, here's just a sampling of some of the templated websites that you can choose from. There's probably 10 to 15. They probably added some more. You can change color schemes. You can add your logo to this. All of your content information, how to get a hold of you, where you're located, how to fill out forms on your website. All of that's done on there for you. Here's all of the marketing pieces. There's over 2,000 marketing pieces that you're going to get. And each of these, you can kind of see down there. Look at the bottom portion of it. Now, this kind of gets moved around a little bit. But you see down there at the bottom, kind of right-hand corner where it says free practice analysis. Well, underneath that area right over there, we're going to actually print on demand your logo and your business company name and a way to contact you. It's not going to be a sticker. This is all 100% printed onto this material, shipped to you at no additional cost on what you're getting, your initial investment here. So this all comes to you. Just to kind of showcase a couple of things, I've already mentioned to you that coding, you don't have to become a certified professional coder. CodeWright Services handles every medical code that you're going to need, okay? Audit Guard has to deal with, again, if doctors are audited by Medicare or United Healthcare and they're going through some type of audit, or you want to make sure that if they ever do go through an audit, that they would never find money being clawed back, okay? HIPAA Compliancy, this is Compliancy Guard. This is another service that you're able to utilize. Again, as the first turn of this year, come January 1, every doctor is going to have to redo their entire HIPAA forms and teaching and training and do everything brand new. And then throughout the year, you can keep those doctors up to date on new HIPAA issues that they're being faced with all the time. Now, if the doctors have old money that they need to collect, We have Quick Collect there to kind of help them go through this. But every one of these services comes with marketing material that if you're making a presentation to a doctor, you don't have to use every single presentation. Remember, you're going to discover through this questionnaire, you're going to discover the top 2 to 3 needs of what a doctor does. And instead of throwing all of this in one particular presentation folder, once you've completed that questionnaire, you know exactly what services that you're going to want to highlight and saying, okay, doctor, I'd like to set up a meeting. I've put some material in here. I'd like to go over the iClaim billing platform. I'd like to go over the information that we've gone over in your practice analysis. And then one of the things I've discovered, there's some HIPAA compliancy things that we might need to look at too, and then a way to collect some old money. And here's some information about it. And then finally, through all of this, to really showcase you and help you elevate you to some credibility. There's nothing more credible that can help you in the early stages than having your name on the front cover of a book. There is a book called The New Thriving Medical Practice that comes along with all of those marketing materials already. You're going to get a set of these these books, okay? They're not spiral bound. They're not glued together. These are real books as if you were going to buy a business book. It's about 275 pages long. It's written by Patrick Phillips, the founder of American Business Systems, and Dr. Vicki Rackner. But the other person's name that's on the book is your name that goes on the front cover, because you're going to be the one that writes the foreword to the book. Now, don't freak out. You're not going to clean write a foreword to the book. We actually have a templated format that you can utilize. You can change. You can update it. You can scrap it and put it with your own words. But your name goes on right below Dr. Rackner's name and Patrick Phillips' name as the person that wrote the foreword to the book. It's shown on the first page there, and then on the second page of that foreword has all your contact information. Then, if that's not good enough, during training, we're going to show you how to shortcut that doctor's learning. So instead of them having to read 275 pages, we're going to show you how to use these little tabs that you can get at any Staples or Home Depot or Office Depot. You know what I'm talking about, those little flag tabs. And we're going to say, okay, we want you to turn to page 24, and at that third paragraph, put a little sticky tab right there. Take a highlighter, highlight this certain area, as you can see, like right here in this area here, and it's going to help direct that doctor. So it's going to help them quickly educate them on what some of their personal needs are, so that you're not, again, trying to have to sell the doctor anything. Because remember, the old consulting verbiage that we've always said, and it kind of goes like this: if I tell you what's wrong with you, you doubt it. But if you tell me what's wrong with you, it becomes truth. And so this is what this whole book's about, is showing that doctor, yes, these are the issues that have had with some other doctors. Here are some of the solutions that have helped fix that doctor. When they get through reading this book, they go, okay, Anthony, if you can help me do this, let's get you going. Okay? That way it becomes truth. It becomes truth to them. So again, not one time have you heard me say you need to go cold call and knock on doors and cold sell anybody. This is all about building relationships with everyone. And I've told you that from the very beginning. This is why we do what we do every single Wednesday. We give you content. We want to build trust with you. The only way to build trust with you is to engage with you personally. And over a period of time, you go, okay, these guys seem to be real. They're not fly by night. They didn't start this thing up, a year and a half ago. Folks, we've been at this for well over 30 years. And for the 18 years I've been a part of this, I think we've only missed one Wednesday in which we haven't done a webinar. That's the importance of being consistent, being engaging, and building relationships with your people here. Now, as I wrap up here, I want to show one more thing why a doctor would want to outsource their biller. And that is this: if a doctor taking 100 claims per week at $150 per claim over 52 weeks and you were to do billing at 7.5%, I'm going to show you what that's going to come out to be. But everything in this, what cost in the house, if a doctor has at least 1.5 people to do their billing, it's going to average that doctor to spend about $60 to $70,000 a year just to have a, when you take in all the payroll taxes and the workers' comp information, insurance, errors and admissions insurance, training costs, you total all of that up, just to have maybe 1.5 people actually doing the billing is going to roughly cost that doctor $95,000 a year. These numbers are based upon the findings of our people that are out in the field right now, resourcing their billing out to a doctor. And this is what we find of these numbers. But if you take that same amount of claims that this person would do, costing that doctor $95,000 a year, it would cost a doctor to outsource their billing $54,000 and $54,600 a year to you. And that's what you're making. That's your money. So imagine, how many doctors do you need to make a 6-figure income? Well, with this model, you only need 2. You see what I'm saying? If you end up with 3 doctors, then you're at $150,000 a year. And that's still something you can do without even hiring somebody to do the billing for you. Now, obviously, after 3 to 4, maybe 5 doctors, you're going to want somebody else. And it depends on how large you're going to want to grow your business. But these are real numbers that we showcased quite often here. And so we want to make sure that you got that. All right. So we've come to the end. Gosh, folks, I've got less than 8 minutes now to kind of wrap this thing up and put a bow on it. But what we've just went over, what are the best ways to market to doctors? And I've given you just kind of a training module of laying some foundational things out there into what you're going to need to do. And that's how we're going to lead you over 6 modules. That's going to take you probably two weeks to kind of go through. But what we want you to do is recognize that you can leverage ABS's experience. ABS is, like I said, been around for over 30 years, and you can rely upon us. Folks, we haven't been here for 30 years because we're self-funding this business. It's because we're working with people like you. And we're here to help you. Now, one thing, LaTanya's got a question here, and I'm going to answer her question here in just a moment. But I know some of you might have to jump off here, and I don't want to lose you. And I want to share with some things that you should go do. If you haven't been to our website, you've probably been to our website, but maybe hasn't recognized that when you do hit our website and on the landing page, there's that big blue button up in the right-hand corner that says download our 5 secrets to success. If you'll do that for me, what you're going to do, you're going to land on this page, just fill out your first, last, and email address. And what this is going to allow you to do is download a white paper. And in that white paper, there's 5 secrets to success. Now, I've actually done a webinar on those 5. So if you want to download that and then go back to our YouTube channel and find one of the webinars that I've done with these 5 things in there, you'll have a little bit of a head start there, okay? But I want you to get a hold of that. And it actually has some white papers from some of our current business owners, and one of them is Jeff Bruner, who I interviewed last Wednesday. So be sure to get that. All right, LaTanya is asking a question here. Will I work as a virtual assistant in a medical field? Somewhat, yeah. I mean, it's all virtual. I mean, obviously, if you've got a client that's out of state, you're not going to be able to do anything in person anyway. That's why we're going to suggest you to open up a Zoom account. You're going to need that. Some people like to use Teams, Microsoft Teams. Anything that you've got a way to communicate visually through at least some type of video chat, better than Facebook. Do something professional where you can schedule meetings and have certain meetings. Just in my office today, I probably scheduled 3 to 4 virtual meetings just today, and I attend probably 80% of all my meetings are virtual anyway. But folks, you can set that up, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay. Thank you, LaTanya, for that question there. All right. As I kind of wrap up today, I do need to let everybody know that really in the next 2 weeks from, I'll say tomorrow, which would be January 1st, the investment is going from a $30,000 investment to a $35,000 investment. So if you haven't already made arrangements with your sales rep that you're working with, doesn't mean that you paid the $30,000, but you've made some type of commitment and made some type of arrangements to get your $30,000 in, maybe even after the first of the year. Please, please, I encourage you right now to make sure that you get with your sales rep, even today, to make sure that they can kind of talk you through of how to save about $5,000 as we go into this new year. But after the first, the investment will be $35,000. So for those that are here today and you're looking to get started, but you can't maybe just actually get started in January, there is still a way to kind of capture that $30,000 investment before it goes up.